Hello, everybody, and welcome to our weekly AMA. It is time for 3 Air, and I do hope you are with us as you usually are on Wednesdays. Anita Mlakar is my name, and I'm the host of this AMAs, and really looking forward to today's. As you might know, 3Air is here, of course, with you on our channels. You can be with us all the time, but only on Wednesdays. We are live here and giving you possibilities to comment things, to ask questions. And that is why also the CEO of 3Air, Sandi Bitenc, is with us, and he will be joining us in a couple of seconds. I always do a short introduction of what 3Air is doing, of our project, and I will start with it today also. So connect Africa cities with a fast and stable internet connection and become the first fully decentralized telecom platform in the world is the goal of 3Air. Someone did ask a question in our community on Telegram. What is the purpose of 3Air token or its utility? So I will be answering this question right now. Payments for all digital services, digital identities, broadband internet, digital TV, IP telephony, staking and securing the 3Air chain, enabling your own hardware initiative, enabling broadband sharing and roaming and ensuring the infrastructure, then loyalty system discounts on services and other rewards, governance and voting, microloans and collateral, cross collateral for them, 3Air token buybacks and token burns, and so on and so on. So we are connecting the unconnected. Once people have an internet connection, we can provide them with the digital identities. Over 400 million people in Africa don't have any idea connecting them. So then we can bank the unbanked all through blockchain. Please do read more about 3Air. You can, of course, join our communities on Telegram, on Twitter, on Discord, or you can visit our website and see the white paper, read about us. 3air.io is our website, and you are welcome to join us there. And of course, please be here. Do connect with us through this AMAs. This is the opportunity for you, of course, to ask questions, to ask whatever you would like to know right now. And that is why I'm inviting Sandi to be with us today, as he usually is. Sandi Bitenc, hello. CEO of 3Air.
Hello, Anita. How are you?
Hey, I am great. Thank you very much. A little cold, but still great. How are you? A little warmer, right?
A little warmer, yeah. I think uh, winter is coming to Slovenia right now. I'll yeah, next week when we do the next AMA, I'll already be joining you there in Maribor, somewhere close probably, maybe on the way to
Yeah.
Maribor. Yeah, but
Looking
I'm
forward to that.
currently in Canada, so here it's really nice. It's really warm. It's still winter here also, but winters are just like our summers there in Europe.
Would you share a little with us what you're doing there and how was your day today? Because you already told me something. So what is going on and what are you doing there? Not only working, but also enjoying?
Yeah, we tried now to take a few days off, or let's say parts of the day off. Before our AMA, and we did do a airboat ride around the Everglades. We're currently in the Everglades, so we did manage to get 1 hour of free time in. Enjoyed it really much. So we took a ride. You know in the mangrove forest. So the mangroves are the trees that actually can grow out of water. And yeah, it was really nice.
Okay, Sandy, I'm really glad that you're taking some time off, just a little, because as we talk, you always say, I'm working, 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 going to that event, doing that, preparing that. And now you say, I'm actually enjoying it a little bit, also spending time with my dear wife, right, Sandy? So this is great.
Yeah.
You need it.
Yeah, yeah. It was, and also so the two days before we also took some time off, just trying to do the really the most important thing that needs to be done, and then take some time off. So we were for 2 days. We were in the Florida Keys, did some diving there. So two really nice dives on a wreck. They sunk a wreck. I think it's a military ship, over 120 meters long. It was really nice.
Okay, do tell me, Sandy, how are people preparing for Christmas there? Is there Christmas in the air?
Oh, there is Christmas like crazy here. Even when we first arrived in Florida, that was still in November. They were literally playing the Christmas songs like all the time, like literally all the time. You cannot hear anything else almost like the Christmas songs, and that was already in November. Just they start the Christmas season right after Thanksgiving, and some of the houses are like with hundreds of thousands of lights. It'll be just covered with lights. It's something that we are not used to so much in Europe. So they go a bit more crazy here in regards to that, and it's really funny because everything is like, yeah, jingle bells and snow, and there's 30 degrees outside.
Yeah, I like that. I like the jingle bell thing. I really like Christmas. Looking forward. I'll have lights too. Not here. I didn't. That's not all. I have a lot of lights inside the house, and can't wait. For Christmas to come. And I'm also listening to the music, Christmas music, and there are so many movies about Christmas. And every time I need to relax a little bit, I always look at this Christmas movie because it's always ending the same way. It is a happy ending. Everybody, at the beginning who will fall in love in who, and you don't have to think a lot. So I really, I really enjoy that. Um, and I don't do it only in December. Sometimes I do it in November or October too. But yeah, well, this is the time to do that. Do write down in the comment section if you're looking forward to Christmas. Do write down where are you right now, and please ask questions, comment, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're not subscribed yet, so that you will get notifications whenever we are live. Sandy, I'm looking forward to today's special
Yeah,
guest
me too.
on our AMA. Uh, and I'm happy because she's a woman, so it will be 2-1 today. Uh, we usually have men here, and she's really special. We already talked a little bit, and I cannot wait to invite her in. So let's say hello and welcome our dear guest, Nadja Bester, is with us. Hello and welcome,
Hi,
Nadja.
everybody, 3A community. So happy to be here. Sandy and Anita, so privileged to be able to speak to you today. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, oh, the pleasure is ours. We're really looking forward to that. And I will just, in a couple of words, couple of sentences, introduce you, Nadia, if you allow me. And then I would really like you to tell more about yourself. So, you are a co founder at AdLunam, entrepreneur, startup advisor, marketing, and communication expert. You have so many years of experience in that field. And you are also in blockchain since 2017. So, it's for 5 years now, and you are a sort of role model to me, if I can say. I'm also in communication and working in PR, but just recently, Sandy invited me to join also this, let's say, blockchain family, and you are in it for so long. Nadia, could you tell us a little more about your story, about you?
Absolutely. I think I'll start with how I went from marketing and communications into this crazy world that we are in this industry. In 2017, I was heading up digital marketing and communications for a multi-billion-dollar pharma company. I had it made in the corporate world, and the trajectory forward was clear. Course, if that's not what you are called to do in this life, then that's not going to work out. And I at some point had become so tired of constantly being away from the house. I had a young child at the time, he was 10, and I was constantly traveling for business, never home, always rushing to the next meeting. And I was working with people all over the world, but had to do it from the office. And it was just such a mad lifestyle. And I came to the point where I asked myself, but for what? Why am I doing all of this? I'm doing this supposedly for my son, but I'm never with him. And so that led to the decision to go traveling. So we started traveling 6 years ago. We haven't stopped. We thought that we would stop after 1 year, but I think once the bug bites, you can never go back. And I genuinely thought that, this was early retirement and I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of my life, but I don't have to worry about it because I don't have to think about it now. This is my time to learn to relax. And then an opportunity came, as it did for you, Anita. And I was able to start working as a journalist in the blockchain industry. Now, I had been a journalist at school and I loved it, but I knew that this was never going to be my career. I was destined for other things. I started my career in psychology. So that is the thing that I was going to do. And then that went into a different direction. And so I had a lot of career trajectories by the time that I actually ended up working as a journalist. But by then, I think my life experience had schooled me so much in the sense that I'm ready for anything. I can do anything. I don't need to have a background in something. I learn on the go. And a lot of this was as a result of having worked in the early commercial internet. I had a marketing agency serving clients from all over the world since 2012. So I really was, very well versed with this crazy world of not knowing what the next step is because the next step doesn't exist yet. And so when I became a journalist, it really gave me the opportunity to learn about this industry from the inside out. I was writing for publications like Bitcoin.com, investing.com, and many others. And it really allowed me to see what the potential of this technology is from many different sides. I was talking to so many projects. Later on, I started a communications agency, so also working with so many projects. But at the same time, talking to so many retail investors and seeing the hopes and the dreams and the creativity come in from the top and all bets from the bottom and everyone getting into this industry together and hoping that they are going to make something out of this. So it was an amazing space to be in. Of course, we all know the wild west of those days. There are so many projects I work with that if I were to mention them, you'd never know their names because they came and went. And there are others who went on to really become something. And it's, as someone who's been in the industry for so many years, it's really gratifying to see that those who are truly committed to building something, they are the ones that remain, because it's also the agility. If what I'm doing right now doesn't work out, but I have the agility to renegotiate for myself what I can contribute, which is, of course, also why at AdLunam, as an investment platform, we work with so many different projects because it's exactly the spirit of innovation. And the no matter what happens, if I try and fail, I'll get up again. That gets us going. And yeah, we love working with projects who are living this journey. So in a nutshell.
Wow. Nadia, I see how much you love it because of the way you're talking about your work and everything that you're doing. A lot of people are enjoying their work so much as you are, and really, be thrilled to talk about it. So it's really nice to see that. So, AdLunam, how did this story happen? How did it start?
It's a beautiful story. My co-founder and I, Jason Fernandez, we actually worked on a different project together. And because of that project, the bonds were laid and we stayed friends and we each, went our own way in the industry. But because we stayed in constant close communication, we were always, the kind of sounding board about what are the problems in the opportunity, what are the problems in the industry and what are the opportunities. And So the idea behind AdLunam really came about when we thought about the fact that projects need launch pads. This is, post the ICO craze of the 2017, 2018 era. Launchpads came in as a way to really safeguard investors. I did an interview with Hackanoon a while ago where Sandi, speaking of mangroves, where I said that launchpads are like mangroves. Before you go out into the open sea, there is this little estuary where you can find your feet before before you go to open sea and the big sharks are out there. So the role of a launchpad really is to support projects, to help them get in front of the retail investors, and simultaneously for retail investors to be able to trust that the projects that they are investing in, the due diligence has been done across the board. But there were so many limitations in this model. So primarily, if you are familiar with the way that launchpads work, there are two main ways of receiving allocation. In other words, a space in order to invest into a project during their public sale. And one of these is guaranteed allocation via staking. So if you put down enough funds, if you hold enough of the Launchpad token uh, according to their criteria, you then get allocation guaranteed. Now, the problem with this is out of reach for most people. We are talking in the region of $25,000. Then you get an allocation, and the allocation is $400. So imagine you are putting down 25K so that you can put in 400 to invest in the project. I mean, it's absolute madness from the perspective of the average person on the street who absolutely cannot afford this. So this is one thing that we looked at and said, no, there must be a better way of doing this. The other aspect, as someone who's worked in marketing and communications for many years, and also us in this industry, knowing that attention is being sought from all sides. I mean, the noise in crypto is deafening. There's always something happening. And we talk about 15 minutes of fame, but I mean, in crypto, it's like 2 minutes of fame because after 2 minutes, something else has happened and, we all move on. So we also really thought, how are we rewarding users on a daily basis? They are paying us with their attention. They need to pay attention because they need to know what's happening in the industry. So all of these engagements on Web2 platforms, very ironic. Everyone is on Telegram, everyone is on Twitter, on Discord, and they have to spend that time, not necessarily because they're getting anything out of it, just to make sure that they are staying on top of what is happening. Now, the problem is that if projects are looking for the best investors to receive allocation, and investors who are good investors who want to support projects, want to get allocation, the mechanism that existing launchpads had simply was not fit for this model. So launchpads have, as I mentioned, on the one hand, guaranteed allocation via staking, or alternatively, they have a mechanism that is lottery based or auction based. So it's completely based on luck, faith, destiny, whatever the heck you can think of, completely nothing that is based on merit. And so what AdLunam does is we have developed an allocation mechanism called proof of attention. And so the engagement that you are already doing, that is calculated into a leaderboard. And if you are at the top of the leaderboard, guaranteed projects will want to invite you to get allocation into their projects. So this really fosters a very cooperative, healthy system partnership between projects and investors, with, of course, us as the one facilitating all of this. And it's a very privileged position to be in because there's so much happening in the industry. I think, especially in light of recent events with FTX and all of those crazy things that have come to light, that it really just highlights once again the responsibility, almost, I always call it the sacred responsibility that projects and companies in the space have to do the right thing, to make the right decisions. So yeah, very, very privileged to be part of AdLunam and to be building out, yeah, the new era of social engagement in Web3.
Oh, amazing idea, and doing a lot of good, really. So, what we're talking here, this is how actually engage to earn works, right?
So engage to earn is a little bit more, let's say, next level. So
Okay.
as part of this gamified system, so if you can imagine, let's say, a decentralized Reddit, where there's a number of different messaging forums, and as a user, I am able to move across different forums. We
Mhm.
also collect engagement from other platforms, from Web2 platforms like Twitter, Telegram, Discord, etc. And as I move up this leaderboard, I, as an investor, have an investor profile. Now, if you are familiar with Vitalik Buterin and the concept of soul-bound tokens, it's somewhat similar in the sense that this is your identity. It doesn't mean that it's your real name, real address, come come get me where I am. But whoever your identity is, this is the identity that your reputation is built around. And so this means that if I, as an investor, if I'm someone who frequently gets into the top spot, I would very likely frequently get allocation offered to me by different projects. Now, one individual might not always have the capacity to invest into all of these projects, whether financially, whether because of interest, but because their investor profile is an NFT, they are able to, it's a dynamic NFT, so it holds the store of value of their, changing position on the leaderboard. So this NFT can be fractionalized, which means that when they receive allocation, they can also fractionalize that allocation to allow other people to invest under them. So, for example, if 200 people got allocation, but person number 5 allows 2 more people under them as part of their allocation. So, in this way, what happens is the democratization of Web3 investment is further opened. If I, as the person who received the allocation, doesn't actually have the funds to invest into this project, but because of my reputation, because of my standing on the AdLunam system, I am able to allow other people to invest under me. So I become almost a decentralized VC myself, venture capitalist myself. So this means that in essence, someone is truly able to ultimately invest into a project without originally having had the funds in and of themselves, really just leveraging their reputation. So this is the idea behind engage to earn, is really through your engagement, you are able to earn, because we strongly believe that Web3 investment is for everybody. There is not this idea that we have in traditional finance where there's all these gatekeepers. You have to be at a certain income level, you have to be at a certain level of education. I mean, Web3, everyone is already free to invest anyway. But let's not gatekeep it any further, as unfortunately has been done over the last few years.
Okay, so your target audience is are not only investors in that case, right?
So we have both the Launchpad, which is the public sale. So that would target primarily retail investors wanting to come in at the public sale level. We also have a seed pad, however. So we do connect, whether that be retail investors or whether that is institutional investors. We are also able to connect them to early stage projects. But ultimately, at the end of the day, beyond our own role as a launchpad, we are first and foremost a technology company. We have developed a technology that can be leveraged. So we are also partnering with other launchpads. so that other launchpads may leverage our technology in order to raise for their own projects that they are launching. So really the ultimate goal is not AdLunam as a launchpad, but AdLunam as an engage to earn platform where projects and retail investors are able to meet, whether it's us as a launchpad or whether other launchpads are using the platform.
Wow. Nadja, you are really, you know a lot about NFTs. And as I see, you are also, just me just check, host of the Future of NFTs, right? And because we're talking about NFTs a lot also here at 3Air, and I would really like to hear more about your thinking about NFTs and the future. What do you think? What
I
role do
love
they play?
I love that question because I get to ask this on the show every single week. This
Yes.
is literally my question. What is the future of NFTs? So it's a privilege to be able to sit on the other side of the table. Um, I think about NFTs and Web3 technologies in the same way as the internet. I remember a time when I first started my first marketing agency where I had to convince business owners to get a website, and they couldn't understand why do they need a social media profile, and to at that time explain to somebody how the internet works and what is a website and what is this social mechanism. I feel like I'm in a similar position now. When I talk to the average person, people in my personal life who ask what I do, and as soon as I start talking and I mention even one word they don't understand, which is, probably the second word, they stop being able to listen because it's just incomprehensible. So how I think about the future of NFTs is I don't think we are going to end out talking about NFTs as a separate technology. I think it's just going to be integrated into the world, into business, into society as we know it. Because ultimately, what is happening, we have at the surface layer, we have, the hype, we have the media reporting on one NFT has been sold for $69 million. And then everyone rushes and everyone goes to buy PFPs. And so you have that level of conversation. But at the same time, you have the underlying technology which is fundamentally a technology which is agnostic to human ideas, in the sense that whoever comes in and is bold enough to build their ideas on top of this technology, in a large sense, they will define what the technology is all about. So I'm actually 2023 is a very fun year for me, because I will be embarking on an amazing project that is actually inspired by this very question: what is the future of NFTs? I am writing a book about Web3 technologies. And I remember when I was a journalist and I had to write about the future implications of blockchain and what it's going to mean for the world. It was always such a frustrating experience to have to only talk about the theory, or to use the example of one project possibly doing something similar, but I don't know if they're a good project or are they only out to scam people. So what I will be doing over the course of 2023 is, rather than just research the book and use the theory, I will actually, on a monthly basis, be creating a new NFT use case that I am writing about. So, very creative year ahead for me, but very excited to see what comes out of it, because I think ultimately, as I said, NFTs could be anything. I mean, there's already so much out there about what the technology is capable of, but ultimately, it is a technology and it is only limited by human imagination, which this is our job, is to leverage the imagination.
Yes. Well, Sandy, I have to include you into this because we're talking about NFTs, and I know that you really like also that field and talking a lot about it. Nadia has a point and is really saying good. She's leading the way in a way in this field. It's amazing, right?
It is, and I fully agree that it's only limited by our imagination. I would add to that that I really do hope that the regulation will still allow us to innovate on in that space. So hopefully we'll not allow this to be taken away from us. And I think that within 3, 4, 5 years, something really amazing will come out. Not one thing, but multiple amazing things. And yeah, for me, really, what I'm really scared about currently is that because of the recent developments in the blockchain space, although I would say that FTX was nothing about blockchain. They were just using some tokens to do it in a way that blockchain is actually trying to replace decentralized entities.
Yeah.
And I'm really scared that something like this will force or allow the regulators to come up with some similar things that they did in the past with the stock exchanges and so on, and that would potentially really kill the innovation as it did also before. Um, so where I see kind of, if I look at Europe, I'm from Europe, and I've tried to build businesses there in the past, and I know how hard it is if there are so many regulations in place, and nothing is really clear what you can do and what you cannot do, and so on. And if we look at the past, the tech, the dot-com revolution that was there in the last 20, 30 years, there is no big tech companies coming out of Europe, and I would say this is just because of regulation. It doesn't have anything to do. They're not stupid people there, or they're not people that don't care about the technology or something like that. It's just no way. Either is it a tax issue or some other regulatory issue that this it just doesn't allow for the innovation to thrive and for the businesses to grow. And I really do hope that this will not be the case with NFTs and blockchain.
I mean, I find it almost ironic in a sense because we talk about blockchain technology being democratizing to users, but in a sense, it's also democratizing to founders because of the mature markets in the world being so regulatory heavy when it comes to this technology. It's really allowing people in markets that otherwise would not have access to funding as easily. What I see that is quite sad is the world seems to very rapidly be dividing itself into zones where innovation is not safe because it's frowned upon by regulators, and innovations being pushed forward. And I think, taking the long-term approach from a government perspective, I don't see that happening. I see that there's so much fear from the regulatory perspective that, well, these are the systems that have been in place for hundreds of years in some sense. And now, this new technology, what right does it have to come along and to do away? But at the same time, we are seeing that there are nations that are actually, from a government standpoint, empowering themselves as a country because they are open to regulations. So I think for NFTs, probably it is very early days. But yes, I do share your concerns. And I'm afraid that these two zones in the world, where this is the zone where all the brilliant minds will go because it's safe to go be innovative there, as opposed to, no, unfortunately, if you want to do something, that's not the place for you to live. So yeah, time will tell, but hopefully governments, learn from the successes of other governments who do take a more positive approach.
Yeah, and I do think that a bit of regulation would be positive for the space. So I think that just right now, literally everyone can enter the space, and for, in a sense, this is okay. But on the other side, there's also really easy for the scammers to enter, and people, the users, they're not educated well enough or maybe they're even a bit too greedy, at least the people that are in the space right now, and they just get scammed, and that's the problem. I think that is a big problem still. So we really need to be educating people fast, that that they can take care of themselves, and this is something that the permissionless nature of blockchain actually is all about. But the question really is, and this I ask myself that quite a lot: are the users actually ready to take care of their own funds? There is no customer support to call when a
Yeah.
transaction went to the wrong place, or if somebody stole your funds, there is no way to actually reverse that transaction, and that is a bit of a challenge in that sense. So, but where is that thin line about regulating it in a sense that you just raise the entry level for everyone to the part that really the best projects and the people that are capable of running projects properly can enter, and not that it goes overboard in regulation, and then just somebody who really has good connections or who is already fully loaded and has the ability to enter. That's for sure not what we would want.
To add on this, I homeschool my son. My son has been homeschooled his whole life. And I often think about it this way. If I compare who he is as a person, how he thinks, to, for example, a child that goes to school and is part of the system and, doesn't question what is happening in the system, to be self-sovereign is something that doesn't come naturally to us because we are born into systems. And so, whatever the predominant political system or the education system, these are the education and political systems that we are born into. And so, to question what is happening, it takes work. And so, in the same sense, if now you are asking users to take care of their funds, whereas before they've always entrusted their funds to banks, I mean, it's education is, I believe, at the very core of what is missing in this industry. Because conversations like one we are having right now, this is where real talk is happening. Unfortunately, as you say, it's very easy. It's a low hanging fruit because look at this project at 10x, 60x, 100x. I mean, look at the price of Bitcoin. Everyone is chasing or has been chasing, the smell of the profits that they are able to make. But I think what markets like these are teaching at least retail investors is okay, hang back a little bit. And I believe the ones that are really savvy are the ones, for example, watching this AMA right now, going, you know what, there's something missing in my education, and it's my responsibility to increase that. Of course, from the regulatory perspective, I mean, that's something that's not in any of our control. But I think that as projects, as companies, we also have this responsibility to weed out the bad actors. So at AdLunam, we continue to build out a very robust, healthy partnership ecosystem. I mean, that's why we are partnered with 3Air, for example. Um, and this allows us to almost build like a hedge against, those bad actors, because I believe this is what the industry is missing. People are popping up everywhere. Some of them are good actors, some of them are bad actors. But unfortunately, the ones doing the bad deeds are the ones getting the press. So if ultimately we become each other's keepers, in a sense, if we all have this responsibility to make sure that we work with good value driven projects and we are committed to doing the same for our own retail investors, yes, regulators are always going to come in and have something to say because they are the ones in control of the law. But I think it's very important for us to also keep our street side of the street clean. So yeah, our work is not done. It hasn't even begun. There's a lot more to do. So happy to be here and happy to be contributing to this.
Thank you, Nadia. Maybe this is the moment to include also a comment from Neiran. Neirai, he was writing and he actually was talking about what you were talking right now. Is it true that the education and political systems in many places are in need of revision? The world is changing rapidly, and many of these systems were designed for a different time.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. You
Exactly.
know, there are also law systems in the world, you know, UK and Europe, where you cannot erase laws. You can just write a law on top of it. And how do we solve that? It's just impossible to really go and build something on, you know, new that would be kind of in line with what actually, you know, is happening right now and what we need right now. So there are a lot of stupid things in our current law system that cannot be erased. And you know, just when you write a law on top of another law, and then, you know, a next law comes on top of that one, it's just becomes so untransparent, and it freezes the economy and the businesses in place, because you literally don't know what you can do and what you cannot do. It can be interpreted in so many ways, so many different ways. It's actually a heaven and hell for the lawyers, probably. And you do something, you never know if you did it right, or if you did it wrong, or if there is somewhere along the chain of all the regulations something that you have actually broken.
I mean, if this was code, it would be very bad code, and we would fire the developers
Yeah.
who wrote that code and get new ones. So
So it's a lot to do. It's a lot to do, but I do think that blockchain actually has the now the technology has the power to change also the law system. You know, in the end, what's law? It's something that kind of tries to guarantee um, something something that's good for the whole community, right? For if there is it's for the community. It's to prohibit, you know, the minorities to do some stupid things that not everyone else agrees with, or would like in their communities. And I think, you know, blockchain is actually also all about that. If you look at DAOs and everything, if we can implement some, I would not like to call it actually sanctions, but there are in a sense sanctions for you know, for players that we actually don't want, that act in a way that the community doesn't agree with. You know, I think that's what law in the end should be. Of course, there is a question if people know what they actually want. I don't think that individuals necessarily know and have the ability to potentially see, you know, what an action right now can mean for the future. But I do think that collectively we are capable of doing this. And if there is a big community that can have the option, or, you know, with on-chain voting to, let's just say, you know, somebody got scammed, I do think that we should be able to reverse that transaction. If there was a criminal act there, we should be able to reverse that transaction, but then the whole community needs to kind of vote for it. I think in a sense, and this is really just dropping in those things, but I do think if we go and think about and develop things in that way, we can be much safer, and it should be much easier for people to actually come into the space, because then you don't need to really think about your own, you know, funds and so on, in as much as right now, because right now whatever happened is actually finite, right? um if we can manage, and I do think that with time we can manage this. The technology for sure has the option, the ability to do that.
I mean, I think what uh, is difficult for people to keep in perspective is essentially at the end of the day, we are talking about decentralization as a technology. And that's very different than what is being built on top of this decentralized technology. Because the whole premise of this entire industry is replace trust because humans are fallible creatures. Every time that we trust each other, we are bound to be disappointed. It's built into who we are as a species. It's not going to change anytime soon. So, because of our own intellectual evolution and cultural evolution, we've come to a point where we've built a technology that can replace the one weakness that we have, which is we cannot trust and we cannot be trusted. So, keeping in mind that the technology is trustless, but people building on top of the technology, they are still people and they still have their own prerogatives. So, using these systems that we know, like the legal system, I mean, the legal system in every country was created by a group of people with their own objectives. And while we would love to believe that it's all for the good of the people, I think we all know in our everyday interactions with institutions that people running institutions have their own uh, mini operations that's perhaps not, part of the official purpose of the institution. So I think ultimately what we are seeing right now in terms of this technology is a lot of promise, but it really is so much in its infancy that probably 50 years from now, I mean, I would love for it to not take that long, but if we look 50 years from now, we will be able to look back and go, wow, that seemed really new to us at the time. But it's going to take a lot of work to get from where we are to across the international community in every industry, in every system, accept that trustless is superior to trusting fallible people in the positions that we are placing them into. So let's see. There's a lot of things will need to happen for that utopia to take place, but I do believe it's possible over time. Not sure if in my generation I would like to believe so, but if not, at some point in the future.
Nadia, talking about now, since you are the host of the future of NFTs, what is your feeling? How adaptable are people, or how interested are they to learn new things, to learn about crypto, to learn about what we were talking right now? We said that in this AMA, in a way, we are also educating people, not just saying what we have and what is our project, but also educating, which is very important. And this is the real empowerment, as we always say. How is your feeling about that?
I would love to have a more positive feeling or answer. I think at the moment, what we are seeing, people have been burnt. They have put a lot of money into things that they perhaps don't understand. And while we can say, do your own research, it's your responsibility to make sense of all this stuff, players in the industry are the ones who need people to understand what they are doing. So if someone is investing into a project without understanding what this project is doing, in some sense, it is also the responsibility of the project. The narratives that we have been pushing in the industry have been so much related to 10xing, 20xing, hyping this up, hyping that up. And where has that led us? So I think for me, the question is, if you look around you and you are the only person left standing, this should be an indication that you need to start asking some questions. So at the moment, I see that there is really not a lot of interest from the general population. people who historically have been interested in crypto, involved with crypto, are leaving. Now, I'm not saying that this is a permanent situation. This is a bear market after all. But the fact that we have these cycles where in a bull market, everyone rushes in, and as soon as the money becomes no longer the issue, everyone leaves. That is a clear indication that something is wrong, because we are not doing this for the money. I mean, if we are only doing this for the money, then let's start getting honest about it. Let's tell everyone, hey, let's all make a lot of money together. But this is not what brilliant minds are in this industry for. They are here to shape the future. They are here to write in the books of history, to change the course of society and of business. And if this is what companies are committed to doing, then it really is so important for us to ask, but where are all the people that we are trying to reach? Why are they not here? So really, I believe that education is so crucially important. And we see this because we have a number of content channels on Twitter Spaces, on podcasts, on YouTube, and we've seen the numbers drop. And this could be an indication of, oh, no, let's stop doing this for now because no one's watching. Or it could be an indication that, you know what, this is the time for the narrative to be reshaped. If companies in the space are showing up and pushing out what's important, so namely, learn about what's going on, understand about what's going on, when the market picks back up, be in a much more educated position to make the right decisions. I believe that that is going to shift how we do things going forward. And yeah, very thankful to you guys for showing up every week, because I think this is the kind of thing that really sends such a clear message. Even if right now it's like that quote about dance like nobody's watching. I mean, even if no one's watching right now, literally sometimes it's so important that we keep showing up, because that is the message that we are sending. We are still here doing the right thing. And when you are ready, come and learn with us.
Wow, so true, Nadia.
Wow, so true, Nadia.
Regarding regarding that, how and where do you see 3Air in this space from your perspective?
I mean, I am South African. So, yeah, hey, South Africa, and hey, Africa. Very happy to be talking to you guys, because it's not often that projects, I think, focus on the African continent. And I have worked with startups I've been in the startup space for a long time as a mentor, as an advisor, and I've worked with startups everywhere. And the one thing that I've always found to be such a pain is, if you look at the continent of Africa, there's no shortage of talent. I mean, Africans are some of the most beautiful, amazing, talented people that I've ever met in my life. And yet, things that we have, everyday things that we take for granted, there are so many millions of people, even in some cases, billions of people who don't have access to those things. So I think what 3Air is doing is so important, because the step between being connected to the world, because that's the first step, right? If you're disconnected, you're cut off from everything. But as soon as you get an entry point, that's only the first step. Of course, that's only the first step. But that's such an important step, and it's genuinely being overlooked. And it's understandable, because Africa is a tough market to operate in for very many different reasons. But yeah, very, very grateful and thankful as an African. Thank you, Sandi, and thank you, Anita, for the work that you are doing to connect Africa.
Thank you very much, Nadia.
Very much, Nadia.
Yeah, and thanks for your support and for the support of AdLunam.
Yes, absolutely. Nadia, for the ending of this beautiful AMA and conversation with you, where can people reach you? Where can they find you? Where can they follow you?
So for AdLunam, probably the best place to start would be Twitter. All of our updates are on Twitter, so you can follow AdLunam Inc, AdLunam Inc. You can also follow me personally on Twitter. I'm not super active on there, but you are able to also follow the new project that I mentioned that I will be working on, my book, 12 Use Cases in 12 Months, which is Web3 Explained. And you can also find that on the website, web3explained dot today. And for AdLunam, all of our links are on the Twitter. So just start there and it'll take you everywhere you want to go.
Thank you
And
very
I think
much.
I'm gonna follow you with your book. I think it's a really amazing idea. Great job. And
Sandy, but it's going to be an experiential experience. So I am inviting you. You can please feel free to come co-create this with me. I will be talking to a whole bunch of people over the course of the year, and I have no idea what the book is going to look like. I have no idea what's going to be in there. I will let myself be guided by the experiments and by the people that I speak to. So yeah, it's an exciting time, and I look forward to creating it with everyone.
great. I'll for sure join.
Looking forward. And
I'm,
Anita,
re- I'm really
you have no reason not to, because now you know me and I will show you the ins and outs.
Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to that. I'm really excited, and thank you really for taking time being our guest today and showing so many insights, experiences that you have with us, and of course with our audience. And it has been a really, really nice conversation. I've learned a lot, and I'm thankful for that. So Nadia, I
I
hope
just
that we
also
will.
want to send a shout out to this community because I see there's so many comments happening. I haven't had time to read them, but I see that this is a very active community. And I just want to commend everyone who's on here right now because, as I said earlier, these are the people who are going to take this forward. The ones showing up at this time when nothing is happening, because now everything is happening.
So true. And Richard is saying, make your book an NFT ebook.
It's in the works.
Thanks again for being with us and looking forward to our next AMA. I'm sure that you will be with us again.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much. It's
Nadia.
been an absolute privilege and a blessing. Thank you guys. And yeah, looking forward to the next time.
Wishing you a nice holidays and nice Christmas. Bye bye.
I just wanted to add, Sandy, you said that in Florida, people celebrate Christmas something crazy. I thought that in South Africa, we celebrate Christmas, but I've spent the last few years in Asia over Christmases. And being back in Europe now, I am just amazed. I'm being interviewed by a journalist locally tomorrow, and I have been instructed to wear a Christmas sweater. And I said, well, I've never owned one. And they were very surprised to hear that. So apparently, Europeans are, yeah, very good at celebrating Christmas too. So Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yes,
Yeah, I'm
we
sure.
are.
So Europe has a lot of tradition for sure. It's Europe was Christian for the most of the time. But I saw some Christmas sweaters also here in the hot Florida. I'm telling you, it's
Now
it's
that's
also
crazy. Here I can understand it because it's freezing. In Florida, no way. That's dedication to Christmas.
it is.
It
So
is.
lovely to be with you today, guys. Looking forward to speaking again soon.
Thank you, Nadia. Wish you all the best. Bye bye.
Bye.
Okay, Sandy, we have come to the end of this AMA. Maybe is there something that you would like to add before we end this beautiful session?
Just in regards to the general market, all eyes within an hour, we're having the FOMC meeting and the new rate hikes will be announced. So hopefully we get the 50 basis points or less. Then I think we're good to at least stay at the level that we are and probably go a bit more up. But if there's in any case comes to another 75 basis points rate hikes, then hold on tight. It's going to be bumpy again. But I think that's the most important thing that's coming up right now. And because the CPI numbers yesterday came out favorably, we already see a rally in the stock markets and also in the crypto markets. And I think the last time I checked, just before we started the AMA, Bitcoin was just above 18K again, thankfully. And let's see if it can persist. Then I think we still, we have around 10 days of until the Christmas and holidays, where everyone goes into holiday mood, and the volumes usually drop a lot. um, I think until then we might see some really nice gains again, if the rate hikes come back favorable.
I hope they will. Sandy, thank
Yeah,
you
and
for being.
another thing is that if you didn't hear yet, SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried was arrested yesterday in the Bahamas and will be spending some cold nights, although not so cold, in prison in the Bahamas. I think he should be extradited to the U.S. Somewhere beginning of February. He's been
So,
charged with a lot of, yeah. So he's actually facing 85 years of prison. That's right now calculated. I think the max prison sentence that he could potentially get from what he's been charged with.
wow, wow. So the hands of law are still working, let's say, and we'll see what will be happening. Of course, Andy, looking forward to you explaining that to us every week, a little market update and everything else. So thank you very much for being with us. We will be here next week, next Wednesday, as usual. And
Yes,
of
so
course, talking
I think
about.
I'll be able to make it. I have my flight to from Dubai to Slovenia, and but I think I'll be already on the ground and somewhere in the car, probably driving towards Maribor.
Okay, looking forward to seeing you live.
Yeah,
Enjoy,
yeah, me too.
Sandy, your time that is left at your partly vacation, and then welcome to Slovenia. Okay.
Thank
Thanks
you.
everybody for watching, for being with us, and of course, stay tuned and stay members of our communities to get more information. Bye bye.